Well, I did it. I finally told my husband the baby that we're pregnant with might not be his. And if you wanted to know his reaction, he's not here right now because of how bad it went. For those wondering, because I know you are, I did get his entire reaction and this whole experience on video recorded, but I don't know if I should post it due to how bad it went. I'm actually at a loss for words and still like a little bit shaky right now because of how bad the experience went. Like, I did not expect it to go as bad as it did.
This is the book of Sirach, also known as Ecclesiasticus, chapter 25, verse 19. All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. Shalom. Giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Ruach HaKodesh. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, pushing this doctrine of truth to the elect of the nation of Israel, who were scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, pursuant to the curses of Deuteronomy chapter 28. All right, you heard it. You heard this proud demon who had the audacity to not only commit adultery on her husband, or against her husband, but she also got pregnant. So obviously she was having sex with this male adulterer in addition to her husband. So she can't yet figure out who the father is. Now, she probably knows very well, okay? When women are ovulating, they know when they're ovulating, and that is when they're at their horniest. So she was at her horniest with the guy she was having an affair with. So I guarantee you it's most likely his. Okay? This demon is really proud of herself. Do you see her smiling? Do you see the smile the whole time? She was talking about this. See, and this just goes to show you that the wicked beareth rule. Okay, these Edomites, all right, the wicked, are ruling the earth with their unrighteous decrees. Okay, the vast majority of their laws are unrighteous, unjust, and they're oppressive. Okay, this is oppressive to any man, all right, that has to deal with this. Why? Because depending on which state you're in, a man would be responsible for paying child support for a child that's not his. Okay? Now, I remember there was a famous case of a Jake in the state of Michigan who was responsible for paying child support even when it was determined that he was not the father. Okay? That demon wife that he was espoused to was shaking the sheets with somebody else, okay, committing adultery. That's what it was. And she got pregnant, and he got off the hook, okay, for whatever reason. He got off the hook. I think it was because she failed to name or identify who the biological father was. So guess what? Her husband was on the hook for child support, for paying child support for a kid that was not his. Okay? Only in Babylon the Great would some shit like that be legal. Okay? Which brings us to our next scripture. All right, our next precept is Isaiah chapter 10, verse 1. What sorrow awaits the unjust judges and those who issue unfair laws. Okay, and this is for Esau, Edom, because they're the ones who implement these unrighteous laws. Okay, let's read that again. What sorrow awaits the unjust judges and those who issue unfair laws. And that is 100% unfair and unjust. Okay? Let's read verse 2. They deprive the poor of justice. And this is actually written about the Israelites. Okay? But much of the Edomites' unrighteous decrees, all right, were designed specifically for our people. Okay? Now, will there be Edomites who will be the recipients of this injustice? Absolutely. They don't care. You see, the Edomites, the rulers, the elites, they just look at the common Edomite as collateral damage, okay? Damage that's sustained during the course of achieving their primary objective, which is to destroy the Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, okay? There's always going to be casualties of war, all right? People that just inadvertently get taken out, okay? In addition to the primary targets, okay? And this is the nature of these goddamn devils, all right? This is a very wicked, unrighteous law. Let's go to the book of Proverbs, okay? Because these demons, these women today, are given liberty to behave this way. In fact, let's hold that. Let's go back to Sirach, because liberty brought to mind another scripture. Okay, we're going to return to verse 19. This is Ecclesiasticus, Sirach, chapter 25, verse 19. All wickedness is but little to the wickedness of a woman. All right, and this is very, very profound. All right, the wickedness that you see here in the world pales in comparison to the wickedness of a woman. That's essentially what this is saying. Let the portion of a sinner fall upon her. So, this woman is going to be judged, okay, with sinners, because she is in fact sinning. Let's jump down to verse 22. A woman, if she maintain her husband, is full of anger, impudence, and much reproach. All right, now I don't know what their financial situation is, okay, because this is saying if a woman supports or maintains her husband, she's going to be angry and resentful about it, okay, full of impudence and much reproach, because deep down she knows that the dynamic between she and her, Salakia, between husband and wife is out of order. The man is supposed to be the provider. The woman is supposed to be staying at home, taking care of the children, keeping house. Okay? And this is why you should never, ever take up with a woman who makes more money than you, who's more successful than you, because deep down, she is going to resent you. All right? She's going to resent you. Scripture just told you here. All right? In fact, let's see. Let's just finish up, and then we're going to read the GNT version, which simplifies this a little more. A wicked woman abateth the courage, maketh an heavy countenance and a wounded heart. A woman that will not comfort her husband in distress maketh weak hands and feeble knees. And see, when a woman loses respect for a man, the first thing she's ready to do is seek out a man who's more dominant. Okay, a man that makes her feel like a woman. Okay, especially sexually. Okay, this is what these little demons do. All right, now see, if she had any ounce of morality, which she obviously doesn't. I mean, if you're going to commit adultery and you're thinking about doing that, obviously you're devoid of any sense of judgment, sound judgment, or morality, or conscience. Okay? Because women tend to do that when the man is weakened. Okay? He can be overcome with stress. He can be overcome with, the stress and anxiety of maintaining a house, okay, taking care of the family. He could have lost his job, okay, he may not be making enough. This economy is taking a turn for the worse because it's about to crash. So a lot of people are being affected financially, Well, if it affects you financially, it's certainly going to affect you psychologically. Most people, okay? A lot of us, just learn how to deal with it. Some men can't deal with it as much, okay? You don't know. Everybody's story is different. That situation is different, all right? At any rate, these women will look at that as an opportunity to express their resentment and hatred and anger for a man who's struggling, okay? And this is just a hypothetical scenario because a lot of women justify committing adultery, for that reason. Let's see. A wicked woman abateth the courage, maketh an heavy countenance, and a wounded heart. It weakens the mind of a man. A woman that will not comfort her husband in distress maketh weak hands and feeble knees. It makes a man worse if he's already struggling emotionally and psychologically because he's stressed, overworked, underpaid, right? Well, guess what? If a woman's not supportive and providing encouragement, guess what? She's going to make weak hands and feeble knees. She's going to weaken the man. All right, let's go to the GNT version real quick because it does simplify it. All right, verse 19. Her husband, Salakia, compared with the troubles caused by a woman, any other troubles look small. May such women suffer the fate of sinners. Verse 22, when a man is supported by his wife, there is sure to be anger, arrogance, and humiliation. Yeah, they enjoy humiliating a man. And you saw that in the video clip. All right, she was smiling. She was proud of herself. What a proud demon she was. A bad wife will make her husband gloomy and depressed and break his heart. Okay? And the word heart in Hebrew is lab, which means the mind. Okay? Will destroy a man's mind. Show me a timid man who can never make up his mind, and I will show you a wife who doesn't make her husband happy. Because women don't like weak men. Okay? If you're a weak man, if you're not firm, if you deal with disrespect from these demons, you just encourage them and they hate you and resent you for it. Okay? Sin began with the woman, and we must all die because of her. Don't let a bad wife have her way. Okay, in this case, when a woman commits adultery, you go ahead and get rid of her, as the scripture is going to tell you to do, any more than you would allow water to leak from your cistern. If she won't do as you tell her, divorce her. Okay? And it should have been already understood. Okay? You don't commit adultery when you're married, period. Okay? So you must issue a bill of divorce. Otherwise you are going to suffer with taking care of another man's child. Okay? And even if it turns out that it is your child, just knowing that another man violated your wife, okay, while you were married to her, that's enough for divorce. I don't care how nice she becomes afterwards. I don't care how remorseful she is, okay, how regretful she is. You get rid of that goddamn demon because she'll do it again, okay, guaranteed. She'll do it again because she's going to view you as a very weak man, okay, and when she views you as a weak man, all respect is going to be out the window. Okay, let's go to the book of Proverbs chapter 30 verse 20. Such is the way of an adulterous woman. She eateth and wipeth her mouth and saith, I have done no wickedness. Just like that proud demon in the lesson, right, in the video, right? Look at her. She says in many ways, in many words, she's basically saying that she hasn't done anything wrong. She's smiling. She's proud of herself. Okay, she even tried to play the victim. All right, and then had the audacity to broadcast this on social media like these demons do. Okay, this is a humiliation ritual. And I sure hope that man has cojones enough to show this to a judge, get an attorney, show this to a judge, and divorce this bitch because she's a demon. All right? Any woman that would do this to a man just to ruin his life and humiliate him, okay, needs ancient judgment, okay? And that means a stoning. All right? That's what the Bible calls for with a woman who commits adultery and a man who commits adultery with another man's wife. All right? So anyway, this is Babylon the Great, man. And if you're not praying to the Lord on a daily basis for this place to go down, for this place to be destroyed, for these wicked, evil-ass Edomites, okay, that are in power, creating these unrighteous laws, all right, you are part of the problem. All right, you are part of the problem. If you want this wicked-ass kingdom to continue, all right, with its oppressive laws and policies, right, you are part of the problem, and the Lord's going to destroy you. All right? Like the scripture says, oppression makes a wise man mad. All right? And that's actually referring to the Israelites, but it'll make any man mad. Okay? Or go crazy. All right? Anyway, didn't want to make this too long. Lord's will, this was edifying. All praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Shalom.